When we first started talking about the book, you talked about the range or the lack of range you had found in literature about Afghanistan for children. Like this is something you were really passionate about. Like, why do you feel it's so important to sort of have stories about Afghanistan out there? Now that I've just sprung this question on you
Yeah.
with no thought.
That's a difficult one. Editor, pay attention because this is going to be garbled.
Okay.
I think it's never been more clear. If you look at recent headlines and news stories in America, it has never been more clear that we need more understanding about these people in Afghanistan that we are associated with. You know,
we've been working with for 8-9 years now.
Yeah, we've been in Afghanistan for nearly a decade, and we need to understand who these people are. I was amazed by the people I met in Afghanistan. I owe my life to Afghans in really concrete ways. From the Afghans who would point out when the Taliban were placing explosives, to one time the local Afghan police foiled a Taliban attack so that the Taliban never reached our base. And they were always greeting us with so much incredible generosity. They would come running out of their villages to meet us, and their children were amazing. They were so excited. So it was really fun. We would take them toys and books and pens and paper.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful, rewarding experience. And I wish that America would know. I wish that more people would understand that, and then maybe we wouldn't have some of the disagreements that we seem to have.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I read this novel for the first time when President Obama was doing his review of Afghanistan policy last fall, November 2009. And it completely changed my view of the war because it made Zuleika and her family and friends and everyone there really real and dear to me in a way that I had mostly seen them as over there before. And Catherine Patterson wrote a wonderful introduction for the book in which she said very much the same thing, that it complicates your view of the war in a way that's really powerful and fresh. And so, yeah, oh yeah, you're friends with Catherine Patterson. How did that come about?
That came about by happy accident, really. When we first got to Afghanistan, we were living in a small Afghan house. There wasn't enough rations. Showers were really sort of unavailable, and it was a terrifying time. When the mail finally arrived, inside the mail truck was a copy of Bridge to Terabithia that my wife had sent.
Wow.
And it was one of the rare times when I had enough time to sit down and read a whole book. We were very busy. And it lightened my spirit because it reminded me that there's still beauty in the world. There's still hope. There's still a reason to keep working. And I don't know, I didn't know Catherine Patterson at the time, obviously, and I didn't know maybe if she ever had a bad day. I just thought she needed to know that her work really helped people, that it was very important. And so I sent her a letter, and I never expected to hear back. I didn't hear back for several months because our mail took a long time. And when she wrote back this whole wonderful handwritten card, I was amazed, and we just sort of started writing back and forth. And it really has developed into a really great friendship.
And she's the one who encouraged you to go to Vermont College, right? To start writing Zuleika's story?
I started to realize that all of the stories I was thinking of in my mind that I wanted to write were about young people, and I couldn't find any writing schools specifically for young people. So when Catherine recommended the Vermont College of Fine Arts, it was the perfect fit. It was a wonderful school.
Cool. And then, so you wrote the first drafts of Words in the Dust while you were there, right?
I did.
And after you come back and you were teaching English in Iowa?
Yeah, I was really scared to start writing this project because I'm not a girl. I'm not an Afghan, so I was I had a lot of doubts if I could do this. But I worked with some really great instructors who had also written some complicated projects, and kept working on it until we get what we have.
And then we ended up, I know you did a lot of research and I did a lot of research, and then we both had it vetted by several very nice African women and your friend in Afghanistan as well. Sure. How has that process been for you? Or
well, I knew a lot for the book from my experience in Afghanistan. I knew what things looked like. Fortunately, we had lived in that Afghan house, so I knew what an Afghan house possibly
the general
looked
layout and what the materials would be made of and things.
And I could talk to my friends about the animals that they would have in there. But what I did not know, because the Afghans are very private, they live behind walls and they live covered up, and we didn't get a chance to associate them as much as I would have liked to. And so there were a lot of issues in the book that took a lot of research, and people talk about making things authentic to the culture. It's very difficult because the Afghan experience varies so much from city to the country, from different villages in the country, and it's hard to find two Afghans who will agree about how a certain issue should be handled.
Yeah. That was a real education for me as well as an editor, and like all the different resources that we could find on that. And what did you think of the editorial process?
It was.
Was I a real slave
I learned
driver?
a lot. It was wonderful. I love doing this work.
I'll slip you the 20 later. Okay.
Well, it was really exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I was teaching high school English at the time, and I was directing a play. And I think I was also the prom sponsor all at the same time. So it was very difficult to find time to work on it. So I worked very long hours on weekends to make the deadlines. And my students were wonderful. One night I had to stay late after school to work on decorations for prom. And when I would come to check on the students, they would say, "Oh, we're fine, go back and work on the book."
Oh, nice.
And, yeah, they were really great. So
yeah,
it was a wonderful experience.
And now you're writing full time, right?
I am working on second book.
Although you're also thinking about re-enlisting.
Yeah, I'm going to get back into the National Guard. When I went to Afghanistan, I was a combat engineer. Soldiers who work with landmines and plastic explosives, TNT, C4, things like that, which is one of the combat jobs. But I think this time I'm going to get into public affairs. So it's a broadcast journalist is the name of the specialty. But I miss the Army and the Guard, and there are a lot of opportunities there. So I'd like to help.
Well, I hope very much that you'll keep writing, because this is a wonderful book and we want to see more from you.
I couldn't stop writing if I wanted to.
That's great. So this has been a little conversation about Words in the Dust by Trent Reedy, and thank you very much for your attention.